Well, I put on my new glasses, you know? Gotta look sharp. For
Are they
everybody.
gunners?
No, actually, they're just regular glasses. Apparently, I
man.
needed them. Who knew? But that's not going to be the case here, as we're just going to look at some more, I guess, consistent comps with what we're used to seeing in the meta, which is, of course, going to involve some D.Va, some Winston, but on the other side of things, Sleeping Bear, Waifu, they're going to be going for the complete opposite ideology, I guess, you know? Just going with the Reinhardt, going with that Zarya as well. And we do see the Moira. So looking at these compositions already, you can see a pretty stark contrast with what these teams want to pull out first.
Yeah, I'm always a fan of the Moira coming out here. I love seeing the new heroes. You know, she's not that new, but she's still pretty new right now. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Sombrata is actually going to be able to do with this new support hero. Going, of course, into that Pharaoh will be interesting to see if Carbon can try to keep up with them. But right away, looking for team on the blue. Not going to waste any time taking advantage of that Soldier 76. Just way out of position there. Looking for a little bit of damage from behind, you know, from way downtown, man. But Faker also going to get taken out. But here, LFT Heroics are playing rather aggressive, trying to take advantage of the high ground. In a pretty good position, though.
They're probably going to get this early cap here, but not if Rudy can't stay alive. And it looks like he's just getting dangerously low here, trying to make sure that he puts some pressure onto that soldier so he can't get hazed from far away. And look at this, LFT actually falling right now.
Just sitting behind Sleeping Bear's shield, to be honest, and it doesn't look like the Pharaoh was able to really do a whole lot here. So they're going to be outmanned. They're going to be taken down here. A good comeback from the side of the Throne, losing two guys, or rather just one early on, but Carbon able to make his way back into this one here. And Coalescence ready to go for the side of the red.
Already, they're going to be able to back these guys up. And now with the dive, they will be able to get back up onto the point pretty easy, but they're going to have to take those quick kills. And Faker has already shown that he's taken some early deaths. He needs to make sure that he starts getting some picks here for the rest of his team to have an advantage.
Coalescence comes out. Might want to play a little aggressive off of this one, trying to punch out that damage. They're just going to move forward with this. Winston a little out of position here, but no, NGV going to be taken down. Faker, Pulse Bomb comes out there. Not quite able to find any kill, but a barrage up top from Rudy here. That might have just done it. They take out UG. They don't have their Reinhardt on the front line anymore. And LFT battling their way back into this one. And thankfully at this time here, it's because they only give up about 44%, not a huge deficit by any means.
Yeah, that was really good communication from the whole team there. Faker pulling back, definitely caught in a bad situation. But look at this. They're going to come back here, the Throne, with tons of ultimates to use here. And a big thing is that they might not actually have to use the Graviton. If they are able to hold on to this Graviton here, they might be able to win the point off of it off the next fight, maybe.
A lot to work with here for the side of the Throne. Just going to see how they want to play this one out. Going to try to take the high ground. See if they can push Rudy away from that. But a Tactical Visor comes out now from Carbon. That shield's low from Sleeping Bear. Not able to quite protect him, but not a whole lot of targets here for the Soldier 76 to hit. Self-destruct comes out. And again, that D.Va took a lot of that damage from the 76 here. So we'll see Graviton Surge now comes out from Waifu. Sound Barrier to counteract it from both ends. Not a whole lot of kills, but Curix Cersol was taken down, and I think LFT have the advantage.
That was incredibly impressive so far from LFT. Now that they just need to hold on here. It almost got flipped. LFT still hanging on right now. Still have them down at 44%, but now it finally does get flipped by NGV. But now it's going to have to get...
on the point, man.
Is he going to hold on? He's looking to blade here. He got the kill.
Oh, man, he gets taken down himself, but they are going to be able to take this one back, so... I think they got about 11% off of that, but they used the Dragon Blade. Would like to have seen him hold on to that one here, because that is going to be, you know, it's really going to hurt him not having that going into this final. About 35% for the side of LFT, who are just sitting on a Primal Rage, so not a whole lot to work with from either end. We'll see if the Throne can manage to pull themselves back into this just with that Earth Shatter.
Still a huge win for LFT as they were able to pull out 4 or 5 ults on that one, but look at this, Carbon has another one ready to go. Earth Shatter, I think it got swallowed up by the barrier.
Yeah, didn't quite get anything off that one. Sleeping Bear a little out of position off of it. They have a Tactical Visor here, but I think he's just going to hold on to this one. They're going to back off of this. Primal Rage was used from Mind, and they're going to, you know, cut their losses. 10% to go. That's going to allow for an aggressive playstyle coming out from LFT here. They have a self-destruct as well from Hazy if they want to drop it. Can they even make it back to the point? Not even sure if that's going to happen. Tactical Visor comes out. Carbon gets taken down. Overtime is going to be here, but we're going to see the ultimate come out from Mercy. And I'm just not sure if we're going to have, if the Throne can battle their way back into this one.
Well, Lucio falling there. They don't really have much left. They just have to deal with this Moira. If they can find that kill, that'll be that, as we do see the D.Va demeched that will be LFT more than likely taking this first point. Soldier goes down as well, overtime ticking down. And man, what an impressive comeback, actually. I was going to say performance throughout, but LFT losing that first fight, getting a weird flip, but Carbon just not having those solid ultimates, just, you know, having some kind of value out of getting that tac visor out. That does kind of hurt them, you know. They need to get kills off onto Faker. They need to make sure that they demech Hazy before, put some pressure onto Cersol. If you can kill the Valkyrie with that ultimate, then maybe you can get something out of it, but really kind of struggled to find value with that tac visor, and it looks like he's going to drop out. Either are they replacing him, or is he just lagging?
He's just restarting his client here, so hopefully it won't be too much of an issue here for him to get back into this one. But if you're just joining us, guys, we are just starting the round of 8 matchup between the Throne and Looking For Team. And again, Looking For Team definitely with the advantage, obviously, going into this second round, having that 1-0 lead. But kind of overall, I thought they were the favorite going into this matchup here. But a little surprised that the Throne were able to take that first fight to them, get about 55-ish% up onto the board. I'm curious to see what they're going to change up moving into the second round here. It is a best of 3, though, for the entire set. So losing here, not going to knock them out, Hurix, but definitely not the way they want to get started.
This is a pretty tough map, and it's another one of those things where it's tough to say where we're headed after a map like this. I mean, we've seen Oasis maps go heavily one way, or with a team that, you know, doesn't really stack up on all the other maps. They're able to contend on this one, and then it's very different, you know, when we go over to something like Route 66 or Numbani or a map of that caliber. So we'll have to see. I mean, so far LFT has shown that they are the stronger team at this current juncture, but man, have there been a couple of glimpses there of hope for the Throne.
We are back into this one. Throne gonna have to try to change something up here. I'm just really not sure. I feel like a few poorly timed ultimates kind of hurt them there. Would have been nice to see NGV have that Dragon Blade moving into that final fight here. But they're going to make a couple of changes. Sombrata going to move over to the Ana, and Carbon over to McCree from Soldier 76. Going to get off that Reinhardt as well, so go over to that Winston. We'll see if Carbon can keep up with Rudy. I don't feel like he was a massive issue, but the aggressive playstyle from LFT kind of played to their advantage. And Faker not really getting out with his life there. Carbon, he's going to get taken his own taken away there by Rudy Hurix, but still pretty even across the board.
Well, we did see that last round too, right? With Faker just struggling initially, not really finding any value with that Tracer pick, and then later kind of found his stride. Now, they really need him to kind of find that earlier on, or else they're going to be sacrificing a lot of early points that looks like Rudy's going to be able to keep them in the game for.
Yeah, and I said Rudy really wasn't an issue that first round here, but he picks up, I think, 2 or 3 kills to get this fight started. Even with that, here, it's only Faker against the world. He is in a 1-on-4 situation on the point. He is going to be taken down. No escape. I feel like he maybe could have got out of that one alive from the backside. But again, the Throne coming up with the first points here.
And Carbon with a much better performance there. A lot more consistency, and really kind of generating a lot more with that left click, where we saw him having a lot of good value with the Soldier. It was just the ults where he was having a little bit of a struggle, but now with the McCree, he can find value, which is getting those picks, finding those kills, and helping to deal with Faker, who again was a pest towards the latter part of that game.
They're going to look to try to contest this high ground if they can. Try to pull him back from the point as we see a sound barrier come out here from Yugi. They're going to find Faker right away and lose their main tank on the point. Hurix, I just don't see this one happening here for LFT. They're going to be forced to back off of this one. See if they can escape with their lives, but good pressure coming out there from the Throne. Able to find Calvin and just retreat and hold on to their ultimates.
50% right now. LFT going to have to fight back essentially the same amount that they had to before, but now the question is, can they even get in? Because if you think about it, you know, there's so many options now for the Throne to just fire back. If they can get away from this fight here, they might be able to hold on throughout.
Let's see, they have the resources to be able to do so. Mimes puts a sleep up top. That's a nice pickup. See if they're able to capitalize on that. No, Sombrata going to be dropped here, which is not enough to really keep him alive in a sense, and it's going to be LFT taking this one back. And the thing is here, because they didn't even need to use anything. I say taking it back. Sleeping Bear actually wants to get this to 99% if he can. Pops a Primal Rage, but really doesn't have any healing in the area, so kind of an ultimate wasted in a sense. He's going to try to get out of this one alive. Is going to do just that, Hurix, but up to 80% for the throne. We'll see if LFT can battle back again.
Now the question is, how are you going to be able to utilize this blade here to actually generate some early kills to get yourself that early advantage to jump into the point? Because NGV right now might have an opportunity to get Ana boosted, but if he does, he still has to deal with Calvin as a cat who has that barrier. They have several options to keep people in this one, with Cersol having that double res available with the Valkyrie. So what are they going to do?
Nano Blade, as you imagine, but not a whole lot of targets in the vicinity of it to get this thing started. There's no one around here. He's going to find absolutely nothing. In the meantime, they managed to drop the Ana and Carbon duo once again, Hurix. That's exactly what happened at the start of the other fight that LFT was actually able to win, Hurix, into massive ultimates from the side of the throne out the window. And you don't really have to worry about that now if you're LFT. You're sitting pretty good, and you should be able to take the lead here.
Now all you have to do is focus on denying NGV and Carbon. If you can focus on denying those guys, they won't have either of those DPS ults for the rest of the game. You're at 60% right now. You got basically one more fight, maybe an extended one, maybe two if they come back quick and die quick as well. I mean, you really want to make sure that you focus on them as much as possible here. Nice, the first kill onto Carbon.
Destruct trying to knock Rudy out of the air, but he just repositions himself perfectly right there, and they're going to pummel them into this corner. They've got a Primal Rage on their side as well, Hurix, and that's going to be Yugi out the door, and they will take a lead here in the second round, Hurix, and if they can continue with this pressure, they should be able to take this one and move over to Numbani with a 1-0 lead, but still a sound barrier ready to go here from the throne. We'll see if that's what if that's what they need to be able to take this back, Hurix.
Diva Bomb on the point could ward them all off if they so desire. I think probably want to toss it out right about now just to make sure. But they're going to be able to get on. Again, though, no DPS ults for these guys at all.
But it's Faker in the back, man. He finds a pulse bomb onto Yugi before he's able to find a sound barrier, and they're going to open up this fight one man down. They've got a Primal Rage from Sleeping Bear, but Hurix, I just don't think it's enough. Yugi off of respawn. Can he get here in time to save the day? Can he save Waifu? No, he's going to drop here. The Winston is here. Sound barrier comes down, but it's only for Sleeping Bear and Yugi. Hurix, there are all 6 members alive for the side of LFT. We're in overtime right now. No one's going to be able to make it back in touch other than this Lucio, who is off the walls. He is bouncing everywhere, man. But that overtime is going to take down, and LFT battling their way back 2 rounds in a row to take this first map.
That's a good start there for LFT. A little bit of a slip up, I would say, in the beginning of each round, but able to again battle on back, and they were able to hold on. And again, this fight right here was huge for them because not only did they get a ton of value out of Primal Rage and Ultimate that is somewhat difficult to find a lot of that kind of value in, where you're just able to find a lot of damage with it, just generate a lot of pressure and create a lot of space for your team, keep them confined in a small space so that, you know, the rest of your guys can dish out a ton of damage. You have Rudy there dealing a lot of AoE pressure as well, but they found that early pick onto Carbon and then followed it up with a kill onto NGV, again, making sure that they didn't have those DPS ults to re-engage with, which would have been huge for the throne to come back into that fight and maybe have a hope, a glimmer of hope even, to be able to flip that point back in their favor.
We are going to be heading to Numbani for the second map. Third map in this best of 3 quarterfinal is Junkertown if we need it. And Hurix, I love Junkertown. It's a fun map to play and watch, but I'm just not sure if we're going to see it here. I mean, if we see LFT continue to struggle at the start, maybe that's going to be an opportunity for the throne to get something going here. But it feels like you'd mentioned, they're just able to battle their way back into it with sheer skill and overall, and able to take that one with a 2-0 Hurix. So moving to this map, what possible chance do you think the throne's going to have to be able to push us to a game number 3?
Well, the good news is that for Numbani, they have NGV, who has that Genji expertise, but you know, we didn't really see a whole lot from the Genji in the last set, I would say. So I don't know. I mean, we saw NGV get boosted up by the Ana. He pulled the blade out, and then it was just like he was directionless. You know, like he didn't know where to go. He wasn't very sure which kind of target he should go for. Is that a question of, you know, are they as a team not set in terms of, you know, where they need to go and when they need to do it? Or is it a question of NGV just being lost in that moment? Now, if it's on the team, that I think is going to be something that's going to note, you know, kind of poor results for this map as well, and LFT, who already looked good, bringing back now Icy into the mix. I think LFT looks pretty good, and I'm going to err on the side of NGV maybe making a slip up, but I still think LFT has a pretty solid favor here going into this next map.
All right, let's go ahead and get this one started. As those of you just joining us, a reminder to help out tonight's prize pool. Just going to take a moment of your time. Exclamation point Matcherino in Twitch chat. Use the coupon code AGOW78 and AGOW79 to donate a couple of bucks to the prize pool tonight for free. There is no 80, given that the last 2 weeks have tons of codes still out there. So, I mean, theoretically here, I mean, we could have like $200 or $100 into our prize pool tonight from Matcherino donations alone, in which people don't actually even have to donate, just put in the coupon code. So be sure to do that, guys, as we get this one set up. LFT going to be on defense to get things started. And again, the winner of this more than likely going to have to take on Sinatra's Christmas playlist here, which, ouch, that's not going to count out the other quarterfinalists that they're playing against right now, but that's a tough matchup. We get to see it.
All the top 4 for the last couple AGs have, I mean, literally for months, just been quality teams, you know, really, really solid stuff. So going up against any of these guys is going to be pretty hard to pull off. But now looking at Numbani here, Icy is back. Definitely expect a lot of Genji. That's something that, you know, in the past when we saw Icy and Hazy together, you know, Icy was almost always on that Genji, and he was always like at the top of the list of the people that we would talk about in the broadcast. So definitely expect a lot of plays from this guy, as he's had even more time to develop and expand his skill set on this Genji especially. But I'm definitely looking to see what they're going to be able to accomplish here with Faker, because again, in the beginning of the last set on that, you know, last map on Oasis, on the Tracer, he kind of struggled at the beginning. Now with the Soldier, I think he's going to be a little bit more consistent, but if he lacks that consistency early on here, that's really going to hurt them on Numbani.
They're going to take the low ground approach here. We'll see if Hazy's going to catch him out, looking to make their move. They're just going to dive right onto the point. We'll see as Yugi actually caught out. Hazy able to find that kill for himself. They lose their own support, so it's going to be support for support here, but they're going to try to contest that high ground. Meanwhile, Waifu under a little bit of pressure here on the point. They're going to dive all the way into the back. Mine scoops up some Murata here. It is a bloodbath on this point, back and forth. But remember, the defense have that little bit of a spawn advantage. Hazy gets taken out of the mech here into the throne. They might have this under lock. We'll see if they're able to make it back in time. Calvin has the resurrect ready to go if he can make it.
I don't know if he's going to be able to. I mean, he has to basically rely on Faker to get in there, and if Faker goes in there, he's going to die and have that really bad spawn, so they're going to opt to instead come all the way back. Again, just not being able to deal with that really, really intense, aggressive dive that came out here from the throne.
Yeah, that was actually pretty impressive, to say the least. Taking the trades, and in the end, they had their D.Va, they had their Winston on the point here, able to make it back and get some support. But they're not going to waste any time on defense here, trying to push him back into that spawn if possible. We see a Dragon Blade already coming out from Icy. He is a playmaker to keep an eye on, but unfortunately for himself, doesn't quite find anything. He's going to be taken down. Good peel coming out there from Sleeping Bear on the Winston, and the D.Va self-destruct is now out as well. Not quite able to find anything, but they're going to force out a sound barrier here from the offense, and they're going to press forward here. They're going to be able to scoop up some more kills, that Mercy being one of them.
This is so favorable for the throne now. I mean, every ultimate that's come out for LFT has been a mistake. I mean, it's just been ill-advised stuff that we've seen from them, and I'm not sure exactly who's been calling them, but they need to make sure that they cinch that kind of stuff up, make sure that they can't, you know, they don't make those mistakes, because against a team like the throne, again, like I said before, if the rest of this team is as good as I know Waifu is, then this is a good roster. You can't make those kind of mistakes against a team like this.
And they're not even... Oh, they do contest Faker's on the point, but there's no one else around other than Mimes, who he actually makes it back here, so they get Icy back up into the mix. So they are able to make a contest here. Sir Soul does have that Transcendence available if he wants to drop it. Just doesn't see the time to use it. He's actually going to drop it right now onto the payload here. So still a 6-on-6. Health pool's relatively even, and no ultimates really to use from either side. We'll see Hazy going to be D-Mech. That's going to be a nice pickup here for the side of the throne, who I mean, the defense have a massive spawn advantage right now here, so
Ooh, it went through!
Oh,
they got it!
actually step off the payload! What was that?
That was so good for them to focus down that D.Va. As soon as they demech the D.Va, it opened up the ability for them to kill Mimes? Is that his name?
I call him Mimes, man.
Mimes. It opened up the opportunity for them to kill the Winston. And because of that, it opened. I mean, that opportunity allowed them to just jump through just a little bit. Because again, as that D.Va went down, forced that D.Va off point. Mimes went down. I keep struggling with what I want to call him. Mimes fell off the point, died, and then they snuck it right in because of that. So great target focus onto Hazy to allow that to occur.
They have 5-6 ultimates almost ready to go. Pulse bomb out from Carbon. Sombrata going to be taken down though, but here it's, you know, I think they're just relieved that they're able to get that checkpoint. They're going to force out a Dragon Blade from Icy, even though they're down already multiple team members. I don't think that was necessary to say the least, Urix, but still well over 4 minutes to work with here if you're the Throne, sitting in a pretty comfortable position.
Now they're going to have to re-engage, but they have a lot of options to do so with, and man, Sir dropped early by that Zen, the opposing Zen, but now he's going to be forced to trance early, but what a good time for him to do that. Why did NGV pull it out so early?
Oh man, self-destruct comes out as well. The sound barrier was played there. We see the Dragon Blade able to find one for himself, but on the back end, it's going to be Calvin grabbing up Icy as he was taken down with that Dragon Blade, or excuse me, NGV was taken down with that one here. It's still going to be pretty back and forth on the payload, but ultimately the defense looking like they're going to prevail.
I don't know about that. I mean, if they have the spawn advantage, which they do, then they might be able to pull this one out, which just sheer perseverance, but they have to find this Lucio kill here to do it, and they do. Icy holding on, but that's not enough. Waifu and NGV coming up with the fight, and they are going to continue to push this along.
All right, sorry, I'm trying to, apparently the match Reno isn't even published, man.
Oh no.
Trying to get that published. Okay, now you guys should be able to do it. I apologize about that, guys. We got 3 minutes left on the board here. Taking a look at what's going down for LFT. They're gonna play rather aggressively, see if they can find a pick or so, but Faker now off the board. They actually managed to get a D-mech, which is gonna buy him a little bit of time as Waifu tries to get back into that one, sitting at 80%. Shouldn't take him long, but I see another Dragon Blade ready to go. We'll see what he can do with it here.
Good news is no contest here for NGV as he dies off, and that's more time not only for them to wait on their 6, but also for them to wait on that ultimate to be available. Now if LFT don't show for NGV to be able to, you know, get off a little bit more damage to just instigate this next fight, then Sir might actually have time to develop that Transcendence in time for this blade to come out, and that'll be a great option then for them to use against that blade for NGV, and they might be able to stop with that.
Self-destruct comes out to get things started, but everyone's able to get away from it. He shot it way too far back here. It's Icy with the Dragon Blade. Can he find anything? Carves up NGV, and that's going to be enough to stow the blade and pull back once again. A pretty solid hold from LFT here. But again, it feels like on Oasis, such a rough start to both opening rounds, and the same can be said here on Numbani, but you know, I can't tell if they've picked up the slack or if this is just normally what Numbani's like. Because sometimes you do see just hold after hold at the same position here. So we'll see if they're able to keep it up for the next 90 seconds. And
now we already know that NGV is going to get aggressive here. He's going to want to pull the blade out early. They have to deal with Faker before he has the opportunity to do that. But I think he's going to look to do this as early as humanly possible. Again, though, Sir needs to have his Transcendence come out, or he needs to be way out of position for him to find any kind of value in it early on. And look at this, in a 1v1 against this Tracer here, forced back. They're jumping on the Zenyatta here, and that's going to be Sombrata's coming out first.
And the sound barrier, they forced out both of those, and Sleeping Bear wasn't even a part of that. He was on the other side of the map here. It's not great coordination coming out there from the Throne. They do manage to grab a kill or two for themselves here, but it just doesn't amount to too much when you're at such a disadvantage. You forced out, or both support ultimates were forced out on the complete opposite side of the map from your main tank and your Tracer, who both died immediately here. It's now down to 40 seconds. I think they just need to cut their losses and get a regroup, but they do find a kill on the NGV, so potentially LFT holding on.
Yeah, it looks like they are going to stabilize here as Waifu falls off the map. Icy has generated another blade here as he's just going to get a little bit more pressure out before coming back, and this will be the last fight. And I think if Icy finds any kind of value, if he finds any of those supports there with the blade, that'll pretty much solidify this one for sure.
He's done wonderfully with this before. We'll see if he's going to be able to do it again. Carbon needs to get that full spawn, needs to find his stick. Dragon Blade comes out. He's going to drop right on top of him. Self-destruct comes out, but he finds 2 immediately here at Sombrada. One of the supports down. He's in the back. He finds 3. They can't even contest. And that's going to be LFT making a very strong hold here in the final stage of Numbani Heroics. But now we're going to flip sides and see if they have what it takes to make it a 2-0. Or if we're going to be heading to Junkertown. I mean, the Thrones bought themselves a good distance with that payload, man. It's not all the way to the end, but even so, they've got an opportunity here.
They can definitely make a stop here for sure, but you have to remember, I mean, they were determining the pace of those engagements, and they're playing dive heavy more often than not. Now, what that essentially means is that when things turn, and now we see guys like Icy, guys like Mimes, Hazy, when they have the opportunity to determine the pace of the engagement, I mean, Faker even to some extent, they are going to really be able to create a lot of space for Sir Soul, who's already going to be able to do a lot of damage. He's going to be able to generate probably more Transcendences than he was on defense, I would say. And then on top of that, they're also going to be able to be aggressive, where we saw that first point going very early on to the Throne. I mean, I think they're going to have a hard time kind of re-engaging and pulling back as a team in the same way that we saw LFT on that first point, but pretty much throughout, where LFT was able to kind of stabilize after that first point. A little bit of a mishap, I would say.
Well, this is everything for them right now here. It's their hopes and dreams of getting into the semifinals here to take on an even tougher opponent. Could go out the window here if they're not able to make a stand. If they're not able to push it to Junkertown as the 3rd map in this quarterfinal. Looking forward to seeing if that's going to be the case, as they do put Sombrada over to the Mercy. One of the changes, pretty much the only change they really made up here, is Carbon going to be sticking with Soldier 76. The rest of the team looking to be in good form here. But again, they're going to have to find a way to get their hands on Icy, to get their hands on Faker. These two have been uncontested and routing them there on the defensive side of things. So we'll see if they're able to step it up and able to handle the Genji. That's the big question here.
Well, again, look at the setup here. LFT looking to try to engage directly into that backline if possible, put some pressure onto that Soldier. Waifu already taking a lot of heat early on, and Carbon is down!
Yeah, they just jumped right into the back. Great play coming out there from Faker along with Mimes. And they're going to continue to contest this high ground. Hazy actually going to lose his mech, but they find Sombrada, who is trying to glide towards him here. So they're on the point. No one's really here to contest other than Sleeping Bear, but he's got no support in the area. Soldier 76 and Genji are coming back here, but it's going to be a first point capture in a pretty fast time coming out from LFT, just like we saw from the Throne. So I wouldn't say the Throne needs to be worried by any crazy means or anything like that, but they're going to have to find a way to contest these guys on defense, find a way to push them back into their base.
The big thing here, though, is Icy holding onto that blade, and again, as they can determine when they want to fight, you know, Icy getting aggressive with something like that, I pretty much guarantee that he's going to get 2 kills with that blade alone, and they should be able to push that payload quite a distance behind that ultimate for sure.
No sound barrier to accompany him. That definitely would help a big time, a lot there. But he's gonna drop it right away here. It does find Carbon, but gets taken out himself. The big thing is that they were able to find that kill onto the Mercy. So still, LFT in a favorable position in the 5v4 right now, and no Mercy is here. They're gonna find a DMAC onto Waifu. That's another big pickup. Should be plenty to be able to push this payload even further here. Sleeping Bear knows he is gonna die here. And I don't even think they're going to be able to contest this one here, because they might have somebody in the area to do it, but I just don't think they've got the numbers.
Really kind of focusing those divas is a big deal in this kind of matchup where you're going, you know, basically dive versus dive. Obviously, it's a kind of hybrid comp that we're seeing from the Throne right now, with Carbon, of course, being on that Soldier, and they also have that Mercy involved as well. But, you know, when you have that kind of situation... Oh, man, Mime's going down quick there.
They actually used the Mercy Valkyrie ultimate here, right, from Sombrada. But they're going to pop a Primal Rage. They're actually going to drop 2 additional ultimates out here, and they find absolutely nothing from it here. They might have delayed them maximum 10 to 15 seconds, if that. But I just don't think that. I don't think those were used in the best situations. I think they could have held on to it. Now we're going to see Icy play aggressive here, because they've got 5 ultimates to work with. They find NGV. They've got a sound barrier, pulse bomb, everything is ready to push them back into their base.
And now early aggression going on to basically everyone here as Mimes pulls everyone's back, has that Primal Rage ready to go too, so he's just going to be able to keep his team pushing that payload. Can they get on? It is contested, finally.
The Transcendents come out now. Icy comes through with his own Dragon Blade. They're going to be forced off the payload here as Yugi going to get taken down. Sleeping Bear is still in action. Sombrata made a change over to Moira, but he is alone. It's just Tracer. Carbon going to be taken down, and LFT find themselves with a pretty impressive push here on Numbani. 2-0 win here in the quarterfinals and punching their ticket into the semis up next.
Composition like that makes it kind of difficult for that front line to exist. I mean, Waifu taking any kind of pressure is going to basically open up Sleeping Bear to every kind of damage that can come in. That defense matrix not available means that Sleeping Bear has no defenses outside of his own barrier, which obviously just isn't that strong against that full dive pressure that's coming out from LFT. And man, did they make a statement with just, again, that full-on aggression with the dive.
Well, that's going to push LFT into the semifinals, and Hurix, oh man, that's going to be a tough matchup for these guys. Sinatra's Christmas playlist, man, I'm going to say rap playlist so many times. Christmas playlist is a pretty tough team to go up against. Let's take a look at the roster here. Who is on that roster? It is Josiah, Ezire, Karkar, and a few others, so it's not the original Sinatra's rap playlist as far as I know, but even so, it's gonna be a tough matchup for these guys.